Oh, Benny.
Okay. I'll put them right with the thank you.
Did you just?
Hop.
That's great. The heart of Benny. Did you say the heart of Benny? Hop. Oh, got it.
Sorry, let's go through the content.
No, no.
Okay.
There is a periscope for Cronkite
Yeah,
Global.
yeah.
Which one?
It's the same thing. Your life, I won't tell you the username and password right now.
Oh, I can stop that.
I have in my bag. I don't know why.
I'm going to give a password to the whole email.
For sure. In case you decide you're not supposed to.
Sean is not.
The most important thing, apparently, he is kind of grumpy about everything. I've been giving them a hard time because they're not weighing in on something they should be. Yeah.
Because when you interviewed him in Grand as well, like he's not really like, I mean, yesterday as well, like he's super good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he seems to be, he's not very good public outreach person anyway. So, but I think, he's been told to do certain things by the government.
Yeah. So, he's the head of the school council.
Yeah.
Like with the transparent in the finance council, people that budget of 21.
Yeah, they're like 29, and they're mostly like, bag and like this thing that have gun control.
Do you want to?
Hey, Joe.
Do you have
Hi,
your
Joe.
flash drive, or just stick it over there and then we'll call it up?
We don't know. Maybe just have to go more
Yeah, that's fine. So they're a little defensive right now. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
peanut butter.
Yes.
Joe, oh yay. Good. Checking out how they're doing. My card is in 2 weeks. Oh yeah. That's
That's the
Welcome.
Thank you, those of you who have gathered with us here in person at the Cronkite School in beautiful downtown Phoenix, Arizona, and those who are watching around the world. We know there are a few of you who have tuned in, and we're very grateful to have you with us. Today, we continue our Cronkite Global Conversation series, and we're going to focus on the wonderful continent of Africa with two of our Hubert H. Humphrey Fellows this year who will make a presentation. Cronkite Global Initiatives is a program at the school that has a great mission for the students and the faculty and the staff. In addition to the Humphrey program, we do a variety of activities that fulfill that mission. The program of Hubert H. Humphrey, which we're focused on today, is named after, of course, a former Vice President of the United States who during this election year, it's nice to reflect, actually ran for president, lost, but didn't just retire, he reinvented his life, and when he passed away in 1978, his memorial, Jimmy Carter, created the Humphrey program, which is how 9 fellows from around the world have come to the Cronkite from law and health to, of course, journalism, which is our topic today. During their year here at the Cronkite School, they are involved, and we have among our audience here at the Cronkite School today, both host families, friendship families, faculty mentors, because we certainly do all we can, and the Humphrey Fellows do all they can to experience much about American culture and life. But they blog about those experiences every week, and they just spent last week south of the border, so we invite you to go and look on our blog, which you can find on the Cronkite website, to gather their impressions of the border issues, which certainly is a hot topic in this election year cycle in the US. They also have a Facebook page. We hope you'll tune into that and engage with them and participate, and across social media spectrums. And our Cronkite Global staff, Professor Alyssa Adams, is heavily involved in making sure we spread the message of the Humphrey Fellows far and wide. Speaking of far and wide, we're going back to the unique nation of Africa. It's not a nation, it's a continent, and that's obviously a mistake a lot of Americans make. With 54 distinct nations, it's very diverse and very different. But today, there is at least a commonality of language, so we probably should say bonjour, since both of our fellows today have, as part of their cultural heritage and their language heritage, the wonderful language of French, although they promise they will speak in English. First up is Vitaly Abadoku, and he's going to correct my pronunciation of his French name, from the nation of Benin, and Joseph Mayombo from Gabon will finish up. So let's turn the time over to Vitaly right now, and then the way this works, as it always does, for those who are live here with us at the Cronkite School, make sure you fill out this form for attendance, and for back home, we're inviting you to join and tweet about it. Come on up, Vitaly, and we'll move to your presentation. I can give you this clicker. It's hot. You know how to start it there. Slideshow. Hit like slideshow here, and then play from the start. Is that you? All right.
Thank you, Dr. Bill.
And pronounce your name in beautiful French for us.
It is not in French. My name is in Fon, my mother tongue. My name is Adukonu. So, I'm from Benin, as Dr. Bill said, and I will present you my country in Africa. It is one of the 54 countries of Africa. So Africa is a very big and diverse continent. And everything you see in Africa, you will find some in my country. That's why my presentation is titled Benin, Africa in Miniature. So first we will share a little background about Africa. So Africa is 54 countries, almost 2 billion people, and 50% young people. And we have a lot of natural resources, which is why many people come to Africa. And unfortunately, we have 50% of people living with only $1 a day. So many people are poor, even if we have the most rich continents. So why of this? We won't blame anybody, but we should learn a little bit better why many conflicts or poverty in Africa by this short documentary.
The Scramble for Africa and the Berlin Conference. What was the Scramble for Africa? In the 1800s, European countries were rushing into Africa to plant their flags in the land and claim colonies. Because of industrialization, Europe wanted Africa's valuable resources. Some of these included palm oil, cotton, gold, diamonds, and graphite. The control of the Suez Canal was also extremely important for countries wishing to trade with India and China. Overall, the Europeans thought the more colonies they had, the larger their military would be, making them a more powerful country. In the midst of this scramble to place flags on crucial African lands, disputes popped up over who had the best claim. When this began to disrupt trade and travel, Otto von Bismarck called together a meeting called the Berlin Conference. In 1884, 14 countries, minus anyone from Africa, met in Berlin. The major countries at the conference were Britain, France, Belgium, and Portugal. These countries gained much of the most strategic pieces of land. The French gained control of northwestern Africa, including Algeria. The British had control of both South Africa and Egypt, which included influence over the Suez Canal. King Leopold II of Belgium gained the Congo and Central Africa, and the Portuguese established their control of the western and eastern edges of Africa. So what effect did this have on the native African population? While Europe having their primary goal to be the end of slavery in Africa, their actions resulted in the increase in the women and children slaves. They also claimed to be the most civilized, but in reality they carried out horrible travesties in their colonies. In particular, in King Leopold II's Congo-Reuben Basin, over 5 million were murdered and hundreds had their hands chopped off. Europeans also arbitrarily drew boundaries without any regard for the local people groups. It was common for the controlling European power to exploit any existing animosity between people groups in order to keep the population divided and weak. This led to countless disputes, civil wars, and even genocides. You might recall the recent stories of thousands upon thousands murdered in the Sudanese civil war and the ongoing conflict between the Hutus and Tutsis in the Darfur massacre. The Industrial Revolution in Europe pushed countries to acquire colonies which could supply raw materials while at the same time becoming a captured market to sell their manufactured goods. This rush for colonies, aka the scramble for Africa, led to the drawing of arbitrary boundary lines, resulting in tragic unintended consequences that are still affecting Africa today.
Thank you. I put just this short video to show how African countries were created. So sometimes they put just 2 or 3 rivalry kingdoms together to build a country. It's not possible. We were rivalry back, and today we will stay in the same country. So it's not easy to people to. Well, back to my country, Benin was colonized by France in 1894, and it is today Benin is almost 3 main kingdoms together with other ethnic groups. So, but in the past, these 3 kingdoms were very rival. They have experienced many times wars. So, but now all of them are together in a country called primary Dahomey, because we get our independence on August 1st, 1960, as Dahomey. Dahomey is the French name of Dahomey, one of the powerful kingdoms. And for the unity, the country decided to become Benin. So the pass of Dahomey wants be in every people's mind, because Dahomey is just for people from the south. So, and the country have 3 main kingdoms, so it's better to have a neutral name. And we are all in colonization time, and even after colonization, my country was called Quartier Latin de l'Afrique, Latin culture of Africa, because people from Benin were very intelligent, and in colonization, French people sent them in other colonies to be teachers or to help rule the colonies. Today we are using franc CFA as currency, and when you have $1, that means you have 600 CFA. So when you go back to my country, you'll be very rich. And one of the powerful king and loved one, even today, many people are using his image. He's called Dahomey, the Bearzen. It's the one who fights against French colonization. During 4 years, he fought against French, and for many times French army was defeated, and they have to go back, call other people before beating him in 1894. And he was not really defeated because he just decided to have amnesty because the war was lasting and many people are dying. So he decided to meet the King of France. But instead of meeting the King of France, they sent him to Martinique, and he died after in Algeria. Also about Benin, we have 4 countries around us. We have Nigeria. You see Benin is just here, small country. We have Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Togo, and we have the Atlantic Ocean. So we have one of the good parts in the region, and people from Niger, Burkina Faso, all the goods come through our ports. We have 62 ethnic groups, 3 main religions, with silent predominance of Vodou. I say silent predominance of Vodou because Vodou is our national religion. Some people say I am not in Vodou, I am Christian, but in every family you have a divinity. So we all must have a Vodou in our family. So what are the values shared by Benin? Unity. We are 62 ethnic groups, but we remain one. And the respect of elders it is very important for us. Here you see the 3 presidents since 1990 to now, 3 presidents, because we were a dictatorship till 1990, and then we decided to become a democratic nation. And the first president of democratic nation was this guy, and he was replaced by this one, and the current president is his name is Laiboni. So what is Vodou? Benin is the Vodou land. Vodou come from Benin. You see Vodou in Brazil, Erie, and some South American countries because of slavery. But Vodou come from my country, and it is the main religion of our the kingdom of Dahomey. And the main God is I think the same God with everybody, the Almighty God. And people say we can't reach Him. We are too poor. We are not poor to reach this God. So they have small gods. It depends on what you want. The God of wealthy is down, snake. The God of power is the thunder, and many other small gods. When you pray, one will help you to reach the Almighty God called Mau or Segolisa. So this one is the divinity you see in each village in the south. Before you enter the village, you see this. Sometimes people just hide him in a building, but in each village you should see this. It is called Tolegba. It protects the village. And in each family, as I said, you have your divinity according to your history. And Vodou is a lot of dance, many kind of dance. I can say more than 1,000 dances, different kind of dances. So when you visit Benin, you won't be bored. You have always something to see in there. And Vodou is also mystery. I'll show you a little bit of this mystery. It is just one from 1,000 of mystery. Nobody inside, nothing inside. Just spirits. But sometimes you see remove it and you see just something. You see what that's different kind of thing. It is moved by the spirits. You see the nest, what is inside, small thing inside.
So there's no one inside?
Watch.
What it does, and I'm sure yesterday drove many kind of.
There's no one inside?
What?
No one inside?
Nobody. Just spirit, as I told you. But you can enter inside, you know, that way.
No, thank you.
When you go to anywhere, you should visit. You should, even if you go here, it's called the Road of Slave. You must go and touch it. Then when you go there, you will learn more about slavery. What are the main steps slaves go through before going to America. Here it is a city on the river, almost 40,000 people living on the river. And these people were, in the past, they were running away from the kingdom of Dahomey, because we fight everybody in the past. And we don't know how to swim. We don't know how to swim. So these people, as they know that this kingdom don't know how to swim, they just go and set themselves on the river so they can be in peace. And today we have, it's like Venice of Italy. When you go there, it is a very peaceful place to visit. Have also the main kingdom. When you want to learn more about the history of Dahomey, just go to History Museum of Dahomey. You have everything about the history of this powerful kingdom. And you also have the natural wildlife. You have two parks, Tangerine and W. I will show you a last short video on what you should visit in Benin. And it is presented by Angelique Kijo. He was a Grammy Award for the third time last month, 3 days ago, I think. So she's from Benin, and we are very proud of her.
Bienvenue au Bénin.
Paysage verdoyant, relief multiforme, forêt et parcs aménagés. Plages ensoleillées, routes des pêches, cité balnéaire ultra moderne. Rythme au corps, rythme au cœur, vestiges et reliques d'une histoire séculaire. Brave peuple, villes et personnes sécurisées. Le Bénin, terre de culture et de riches traditions, nous offre de grands moments de découverte et d'innovation.
Venez visiter le beau pays, le pays. Il vous surprendra.
Bénin, miroir de l'Afrique.
Thank you. So, till the end of my presentation, if you have any questions, I'm available.
You mentioned about gods in the presentation, like do people and community like worship different gods, or how many gods are you mentioned that?
And there is a main God, the Almighty God for everybody. Muslim called Allah, we call it Mahu. For Christian who speak our language, they call it their God, Mahu. And we have many other different divinities. It depends on what you want. You can go to this divinity. You have divinity of iron, divinity of water, divinity of thunder, many kind of divinities. Depends on what you want. You go and you don't need to be adept. You can just go and ask what you want.
As you talked about your values, and you said that peace is one of the most important values in your society.
Yeah.
And you also talked about that these were the colonizers basically who started this division of the tribes. So what is the main reason at the moment that people are fighting, tribes are fighting in Africa?
No, it is all.
Element, or it is the local?
No, today you have United States, Mexico. In the past, it is not country, but it was kingdom. And each kingdom wants to spread his power around to be more powerful and richer. So this is why they are fighting to get more land, to spread their power. And I forgot to mention something. The first democratic country in Africa is Benin. And we never experienced war. Never. And we won't never experience it because we love peace and we love for we are all of the same. Yeah, Taco?
Every country that has struggled for freedom and has maintained a long life struggle for necessity of enjoying itself in its borders has one Che Guevara per country.
What?
One Che Guevara from okay. What is your Che Guevara? What is Benin's Che Guevara? Is there some
He's
kind
like
of
revolutionary
soldier that you are looking up to?
Sometimes it's a woman.
No,
Che Guevara is like a
no, I think it is. Many people recognize themselves in the King Beyanza, who fight against French people. And before leaving the country, he said, "My country will never experience war. Never experience war. You can argue for a long time, but you will never experience war." And since he left, we will never experience war. And people know Benin, like, arguing people. We are always arguing, we never agree. We never agree. But we never fight ourselves.
back in Europe, this guy named Shaka Zulu is very famous. What about him?
He's in South Africa. So he's another kingdom. So yes, I'm talking about my kingdom. And you should learn more about Beyanza. That's all.
Thank you, Italian. I want to ask about education system. How, again, in your country, how students go there, and what about women? Can they go to the?
Thank you. In Benin, primary school is free for everybody. Secondary school is free for all girls. Girls don't pay anything from the first grade until they go to university. Even university is free in my country.
For girls or for
Everybody. University is free for everybody in my country.
Universities are also.
Yeah, university is free, and high school is free for girls. And I think that we have more girls now than boys in high school. But it's in university that after they graduate, the goal change. They want ladies sometimes.
So private universities are also working there? The private universities are
Yeah, we have now we have two main campuses, one in south, one in the north, but we have many others public campuses in other cities to allow people not to come in the main cities before being educated. Yes, Taco.
Since we are in global conversation, how would you represent in an elevator pitch for your country to the world? You have 30 seconds to present your country to the world.
Benin is one of the most peaceful places to be, with a wonderful place to visit. Mystery of Vodou to know, so you should go there to learn about Vodou, to learn about how to welcome people.
Any more questions before we move on to another African country, Christine?
So the silent pronunciation of Mandu, is it any, does the word, I mean, it sounds like voodoo. I mean, but it seems interesting also.
I had the same
Can I just answer your question?
I mean, I know you have a lot of connections, like, you mentioned, the other day about, like the Latin Quarter, and I think of New Orleans, where voodoo is very strong, there. Is it the same? Is it similar? Is it, do you know this word voodoo?
Voodoo, yeah.
VOODOO?
Yeah, it is, when some people can't pronounce voodoo, so they say voodoo. So it depends on who you are. Some French people, they just say voodoo. So in Haiti or in Brazil, it is almost the same pronunciation, but they just say just a little bit different, but it's the same spirit.
The same spirit. So it's a derivative.
Two more questions popping
It's
up.
a follow-up actually. So Vitalian, how do you feel? I mean, coming from your own culture, and voodoo is actually something positive, but in the Western context, it's perceived as something evil, and you do it when you wish something evil on somebody else that you would practice voodoo. How do you feel when it's interpreted in that manner?
No, even if in my country people think that voodoo is bad. Even if in West Africa, people, when you say I'm come from Benin, they are afraid of you. Because it is a very positive thing, but some people use the bad side. Even if in Hindu or in other religion, people use bad side of the religion. But what's interesting, in a priest will never do something wrong for someone. If he know how to do it. But if you come to him to say, I want to do something wrong, he'll try to reason you. I don't know how to say it in French, in English. But if you insist to do it, he'll say, I will show it to you, but even you will have the consequence of what you will do. So you will do the bad side by yourself, but you have the consequence. He will never do it for you. But many people think voodoo is bad. Even back home, many people, me, myself, I have friends who practice voodoo. I don't practice because of my family. They are Catholic since the beginning. So, but now I think when I go back home, I will learn more about voodoo.
I'm glad you don't know voodoo right now.
No, it is easy. They can send me the power and I can use it positively to help you.
Right, you get one final question before we transition.
About the interesting dance, I only want to know more about if there has been any anthropological research on that, and if there are any research, could you share with that? You don't have to do it right now, but with the links or something like that.
So there is many research on that, and a very wonderful interview on Pan-African TV for Africa Concat with one of intellectuals of Benin talking about voodoo. He showed how voodoo is very positive, and I think but it's in French, I can send it to you. It is very positive. He explained how voodoo is and how people just disgrace by talking about voodoo. But voodoo is a religion, and it is very positive religion.
Wonderful. On that positive note, we will transition to the Nation of Islam. Thank you, Pete. Joe?
Oh, yay.
Come take it away. I'm not sure where your pen is. Right there, maybe? Is this the right one?
Yes, no?
Is that right?
No.
Maybe a funny way to make a transition from Benin to Gabon is to tell you a funny story. You remember, for my veteran Humphrey folks, that I lost my uncle last semester, right? One of my cousins, who is the nephew of the late of the departed one, confessed to the family back home that he was responsible for the death of my uncle. And how come he did it? People asked. He said, I went to Benin to have some voodoo power.
Oh my God.
I think I explained it to Dr.
What a
Lee.
nice story.
This one or this Okay, thank you. So, as I said, Gabon is part of the 54 African countries in the continent. And okay, I think here people can know where Gabon is located, because I used to say Gabon is the first country straddling the Ecuador from the west of the continent. Not easy to know. Gabon's capital is Libreville. Libreville was created in, I think, in the 18th century by released slaves who were en route to the Caribbean or to America. And when the globe declared that slavery was over, slaves were just raised like that, maybe from South Africa, from all parts of Africa, and they created Libreville. Libreville is a French colony, is a former French colony with 1.7 million, not as many as Benin, with the current president, Ali Bongo, son of late Omar Bongo, who remained in power for more than 41 years. The family is in Ondo, we speak French, and we also have local languages. The number of more than 50. Okay. Legislatively, we have the Senate and the National Assembly. I think Gabon is well known by Americans, particularly by missionaries who first settled there in early 1930 to work for Christianism and garner more Christians. And they created in 1977 a hospital called Bongo Hospital. It is located in southeast of the country. It's one of the best hospitals in I would say in Central Africa, because even people from Congo, Cameroon, usually we go there to receive treatment in all kinds of diseases. Gabon is also known, but it's also a roots place for Americans. Genetics said this guy has ancestors back home. On another note, Gabon is said to be a place with wonderful riches, like those on the ground. We are the second largest producer of manganese, with 5.7 billion every year. We have, according to statistics, the most important iron deposit on the ground, which is not exploited yet, but envied by many industrial countries. China is notable. We also have other natural resources like niobium, phosphate, everything. And among all these, not all of them are exploited, only gold and diamond. So there are more 900 mining sites identified to date. As I said to some of you, we have 800 kilometers of coastline with 200,000 square kilometers of fishing areas that can produce up to 300,000 tons of fish, crustaceans, mollusks, and many others. Gabon is a place with many forests, savannas, plains, foodlands, totaling 20 million hectares, which represent more than 80% of the territory. Commercial species are numbered to 400 species. We have 5 million of arable land, and currently in terms of cash crops, we produce coffee, palm oil, and cocoa and rubber. In order to encourage or attract investors in the country, the government has been creating what they call special economic zones. Among them, there is the COP XCZ, which plans to attract people, encouraging them with free exemptions such as license duties, VAT, personal incomes, and even when importing equipment for development. For 10 years, They'll be paying no tax in order to establish it. And I would like to talk a little bit about tourism, which is a different experience compared to other places. I think many Americans, many Europeans used to go to West or Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, to see zebras, giraffes, rhinos, and many other species. It's something, you know. When you compare those places to zoos, to the Bronx Zoo, to I don't know, to the Phoenix Zoo, you see the same thing. And if you Google that, you see that what you find in the zoo is not different from what you find in Kenya, in Tanzania, or in South Africa. That's what makes them a unique place to the 30 national parks, where we have landscape as if they were designed by nature or God. There's a joke that when people went to attend the third summit on sustainability in Brazil, Brazilians used to say, God lives here because of the marvelous places they find. And we will reply saying, God was born in the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
So we have those beautiful beaches with nice landscapes. The biggest herd of forest elephants. To remind you, Gabon is the only place where you find heads of elephant by hundreds, by thousands, still living in the wild, in the tropical forest. Because the most population, the biggest population was located in DRC, but because of civil war, because of excessive poaching, the 1 million species that was counted before was reduced to some 10,000 elephants, forest elephants in DRC. There's also a lot of pressure from Cameroon and the neighbor Congo, and since those elephants are becoming scarce in those countries, poacher will progress to Gabon in order to get elephants. It's the last stronghold of the forest elephants. You see them on the beach, in the forest, everywhere. And you also have, you can have buffaloes near the beach with hippos, sometimes surfing. If you Google surfing hippos, they will direct you to hippos from Gabon. And we also have, we have 4 species of sea turtles. And this one is the leatherback, the biggest one. They have 8 species. We have 4 migrating to Gabon. And Gabon is the first nesting location for those turtles. Yes, as you can see, as indicated here, you see, those turtles will go to the sea for food, for maybe whatever, and then they will go back. Once they're born here, they go back to where they were born for reproduction. You want to say something?
So this is the shore of the sea.
Yep.
I've never seen the hippos in the sea.
Yeah, that's the one. If you Google, they will direct you to hippos from Gabon. Surfing hippos.
Wow.
Yeah, when surfing, like doing surfing.
Body weight.
And what's amazing, when you're lucky enough, sometimes you see buffaloes on the sand, on the coast, elephants on the trees, turtles, and sometimes on the trees. And sometimes whales at a distance in the sea, preaching. I've seen that once. I was lucky enough. And it used to happen in Long National Park, that's in southwestern of the country.
Crocodile.
We also have huge population of great apes like chimps, gorillas, mangroves. The sun-tailed monkey, named that, given that name because of the color of the tail, is endemic to the Kanye forest in local national park in the country. And those mangroves have been counted till 100,000 of them in the place. It's the only place where it happens. You can have mangroves in other places. Gabon is the one who has this kind of phenomenon. And Gabon is also one of, is ranked among the 3 top destinations for bird watching. Because they have, we're linking nature tourism to nature, to culture, because our culture is linked to nature. As you can see, the carving, everything, and British ceremony, which is also a religion, and different types of traditional dances linked to British. And all those ceremonies, cultural values are linked to what they call Iboga. I didn't find the English version, but if you're curious enough, you can check Crime Scene Investigation, season 4, episode 6. They speak about Iboga, which is a kind of something spiritual and send you allows you to get to illumination. This is a temple, which people dancing, and they usually use this Iboga. It's usually planted in box or powder to initiate Mbiri or Banzi. All those names you can find them in the video. And the Iboga is at the origin of the Ibogaine. I took some people of you, but they will not aware now. Ibogaine is used to cure drug addiction, and many people use it in America. Because it's not licensed yet, people will use it informally or secretly. Research says that because it's so, I think, so efficient that pharmaceutical groups, are scared of the success of the product against what's already available.
What drugs?
Sorry? Any kind of
Any drugs?
Yeah, even viral diseases. Yeah, some of them dare to mention AIDS. So we believe that promoting tourism through nature and culture can accelerate, the employment rates and development, which affect 50% of the population back home. Because according to the official statistics, 60% of the country are poor, or they're not well enough to be aliens. The example is that with only a result of 20 beds, we can have 100 to 1. But in order to reach that, there are challenges, and we need to address them. The biggest one is poaching, the killing of elephants, as I told you before. This is a stockpile of ivory that was burned a few years ago. The value was $5 billion. So you can imagine why this traffic is still continuous, because people rely on it. And we have responses. We're working with different partners, locally and internationally. In the US, we have the support of the US Fish Product Service, and with the resources that they provided us with, we partnered with the US Marines, who came down to train our rangers, eco guards, for different techniques of anti-poaching or resisting poachers in the forest. And we also recruited dogs to sniff things in different ports, seaports or airports. And we also do some promotion. 2 years ago, we had Chakana coming to Gabon. We made a series of movies, and he has them released on different channels in the US. Any of you know Chakana? Sandy, do you know Chakana?
Yeah,
sure. Have you met him? I met
I
him.
would not know.
I met him. We shook hands. We even walked like this. And if we have time, we could check it later on. Last year we had the Warner Bros. To Gabon to shoot in 10 of the national parks for the latest tourism. So when you see, I have the trailer here, but maybe I don't. When you see the movie in next summer, you see the most beautiful landscape in the movie. From like the river and the waterfalls. So we have a bunch of projects like these ones, getting them to know the places and promote the courage reporting. And yeah, that's what we do. And if you have questions, I can ask you. Thank you.
Who has questions for Joseph?
I actually have a question. It's for both of you gentlemen to a degree.
I actually knew nothing about either your countries before this presentation. And I don't think I'm particularly badly informed. I just think North Americans tend to only hear about African countries if there's disaster or war going on. And I think that is a media issue. Would either of you like to sort of comment on what you think that, like, the peaceful countries, the ones that are, you know, doing the best they can and building and growing, don't really seem to get any exposure outside of, you know, efforts like you just pointed out where you've managed to bring Jack Hanna in or bring in or be used as a movie area. So could you comment on that?
Yes. I have a couple of journalists who came to the country after a result of the Ivory burn. Many were interested. They requested for permission to get it done, and then they saw what was happening there. And I particularly know Jan Bearer from England, who reported about the wonderful things happening. And when checking his articles, he has a very nice one in which he says the West, not only America, even Great Britain, by their own developed a very negative, opinion about the continent, and that's even why he said China is taking over, because the people were reluctant, saying that it's a correct place. People always disease, over wars, everything. China went there. They've never experienced. There are problems everywhere. There are problems, but China are taking all the business, even though it's easier for them. Even though the market has a win-win thing. And when I came here in the US, I even emailed them. I say, Taiwan is not known here, but back home, from what we from those guys, Jack Hanna, Warner Bros, and other journalists coming, we usually brag, we usually boast, saying that, oh, we're well known. Now we need to work with people at home in order to make them accept the project, which is not real. It's not the case. Only all those guys, Warner Bros maybe went there because they wanted a new landscape for the movie, And Jack Hanna was also too used to Kenya and Uganda and all the places. Want something new, and maybe we kind of communicate a little bit. And also, to tell you the truth, Gabon has mostly been exposed by National Geographic, because those guys are the ones who really put light on what we have in terms of opportunities. Natural opportunities. That goes back to 2000, when Mike Fair, an American, a veteran scientist at National Geographic, crossed Central Africa. He went from Congo, and he walked across the forest with pygmies, with other people, across all those landscapes, shooting, photographing, writing, and 2 years later, everything was exposed, shown to the president, and at once the president said, "Wow, is this in my place?" Yes, of course. They replied, and in one run, he decided to create 30 national parks. Before 2000, we only have like 4% of protected areas in the country. As a result of this expedition by McAfee National Geographic, we moved from 4 to almost 12% of the country has national parks, and we have 0 national parks at the time. So all the national parks can. So publicity is we used to do publicity, but not in the way we started doing it. And thanks to the partner we've been developing with the US particularly, a kind of audience in the US is getting interested. And our job is also to make sure that consumers, like those who usually go to Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, get interested in what we're offering. And it's kind of working. Last year we had the vice president of Televisa, the biggest Mexican TV channel, went there with his family at the same time with the TV crew to shoot, to admire, and then promote the opportunity in Mexico. Did I answer?
Yeah, that helps a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about you? What is your perception of it? Just a sec. Do you want to try to answer?
Yes. I understand this media, Western media, they want to sell the products. So they just find that talking about Africa in the bad way is the best way to sell the products. So, but we African people are proud of our countries.
Well, that's just it, right? I mean, that's why I said we tend to mostly in North America only hear about parts of the world where things are difficult. Like we hear about, atrocities in Rwanda. That's one small portion of people, one small portion of Africa, but that tends to be the thing that we hear about again and again. So
even Ebola was in the very small part of Africa, but when people see African, they run away. When Ebola is very far from my country, but when they see people with black skin, like Africa, sure that they come from Africa, they start running away. So I think it is, I don't know why Western people create internet and they don't use it.
That sums it all.
Yes, definitely.
Pinpoint. Yes.
Ivoga, for example, is mostly promoted by Westerners. Those who experimented it found on the product a very promising thing for diseases and for those addicted to for those drug addicted people. Just by curiosity, check Iboga, and you see that there are even Americans, French, who goes to Gabon to get initiatives to this because they want to know what's with this Iboga. Because when you ask me what is Iboga, I will just tell you general things. I won't give you details. You need to go by yourself and see. The experience is different from each one, and yeah, it's something.
Okay, just told about that. It is the media basically who told people that Gabon is there and this is a beautiful part of the world as well. So what about the Gabon's own media then? And what is the media situation in terms of private and common media and the education as well? Media education and the rest of the education also.
Yes, we have Department of Journalism and Communication in the University of Libreville. There are also private schools teaching journalism, and there are more private journalists and journalism outlets than the public ones.
How many numbers TV channels and radio?
There can be like 50 of them. There are two main ones, 2 public ones, and like 20 or 30 private ones.
So cable is used to transfer to the transmission?
Yeah, cable is used for 3 of them. The public one and 2 that's a private. To the best of my knowledge, maybe because it was internet is moving in over there, and maybe when I go back, I will see that there are other TVs that have.
What is the cable penetration out into the villages, though? There's not heavy cable.
The cable penetration, they will have like those kind of yes, that they use in order to get all the channels in from the US.
Yes.
They can from a village you can watch CNN, BBC.
We have time for one more question, and then you might have individual questions for Battalion or Joseph. Yes, Darko.
As always. What is the political situation stable over there? Or because you know that Western people are always concerned about political turmoils all over the world, of course, neglecting their own. So, what's the political situation if we want to invite people in there? Let's say to them.
I may be biased. I would advise you to check with the U.S. Embassy there. But I can tell you that people are going there very often, and we have almost all nationalities. And Italian can confirm that all the West African folks, live in Gabon because of the opportunities that they can find at home. We have French who don't want to leave the country because of the opportunities they will not find when flying back home. And more Americans are getting interested in it. And just come by yourself and see. It's a corruption government or a weak government doesn't mean there's turmoil, there's
Let's give a round of applause. Both of our speakers, and we hope you'll join us again next week, but it's an interesting focus, the global rainbow, LGBT expressions in Asian and Eastern Europe. Same time around the world if you're joining us online, and right back here at the Cronkite School. Thank you again for being with us today.
Yay! Yay! Good job, good job. Good job.
Good, how are you?
Oh, really? We should go. Let's go.
Thank you for coming.
Actually,
Great
when
job. Great job.
I know.
Very
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.